Hey, have you ever felt like being alone is some kind of failure? Well, today we're exploring a pretty radical idea. What if it's actually your greatest strength? We're diving into what's called the lonely chapter, why you must walk alone.
And this really gets us to the central question, doesn't it? Is being alone a punishment, something we should avoid at all costs, or could it actually be a form of preparation for something, well, something much bigger?
To figure that out, we first have to face how we usually see it. So let's step into what we're calling the shadow of loneliness.
Okay, so on one hand, you've got the stigma. Society tells us pretty loudly that being alone is a sign of failure. It feels like a punishment, right? But on the other hand, there's this powerful way to reframe it, to see it not as a stigma, but as a path. And on this path, loneliness becomes solitude, failure becomes preparation, and punishment, well, that becomes power. It's all just about shifting how you see it, from a negative thing to a totally necessary part of the process.
So how in the world do we actually make that shift? This is where we get to the real heart of our journey today. It means we have to be willing to enter what's called the wilderness.
The source material for this idea calls this the lonely chapter. Now, I know it sounds like a downer, a period of isolation, but the key here is to see it as a critical time of preparation.
And this quote just nails it. Reframe isolation not as a punishment, but as a wilderness period of preparation for uncharted territory. Just think about that for a second. It's not about hiding away from the world. It's about gearing up, about getting stronger for a future you haven't even mapped out yet. The wilderness, that's where the important work gets done.
So you might be wondering, if you're in this so-called wilderness, what are you supposed to be doing? What's the point? Well, that brings us right to our next section, finding your true voice.
And hey, this isn't just some abstract concept. There's actually a process here. It all starts when you embrace the stillness. You allow for quiet instead of constant noise and distraction. From there, you navigate the wilderness, which just means actively exploring your own thoughts and values without all that outside influence. And the result of that whole journey? You find your true voice, the one that's 100% yours.
And once you've found that voice, oh man, everything changes. Your whole perspective shifts, and you get to the ultimate payoff of this entire journey. You start to see the world as your playground.
Learn to walk in your own shadow. Just let that sink in. What does that really mean? It's about getting so comfortable with yourself that your own company is all you need. It means you're not afraid of what you might find when things get quiet.
Because when you can do that, something incredible happens. If you're cool with walking in your own shadow, the world becomes your playground. What a liberating thought, huh? When you don't need everyone else to tell you you're okay, the world stops being this scary place full of judgment. Instead, it just opens up. It becomes this space for you to explore, to create, and to live completely on your own terms.
Which kind of brings us to our final thought. And this is a question for you, not for me. After navigating that lonely chapter, after finding your voice out there in the wilderness, where will your path lead you? What uncharted territory are you now ready to explore? Thanks for joining me on this one.